TM01-10, Installation of the Submersible Unit. We'd like to present the Triol Downhole Measuring System, TM01-10. The device is intended for collecting, processing, displaying, and transmitting the parameters of an electric submersible pump installation. Helps to protect the motor and power cable from overheating. Prevents pump stalling due to low dynamic level. Reduces the percentage of equipment failures. Optimizes the operation of the electric submersible pump installation. Thanks to effective algorithms for requesting the status of sensors and data management systems, Triol TM01-10 provides continuous monitoring of the equipment status and allows timely decisions to be made to optimize the performance of the monitored equipment. We are confident that Triol TM01-10 will allow you to maximize well production. In this video guide, we will show you how to professionally install the Triol TM01-10 submersible part. Mounting of the submersible unit is carried out in 5 steps in accordance with the operation manual. You can download the electronic version of the operation manual on our website by clicking on the link or by scanning the QR code in the technical passport. TM01-10 is packed in wooden containers intended for sea transportation. The packaging allows safe transportation and storage of the TM01-10 without the risk of damage. We recommend using special clothing and protective gloves when unpacking. The procedure for unpacking the received equipment is as follows. The top cover is screwed on with 8 self-tapping screws. Unscrew them with a screwdriver or screw gun. Take out the contents, passport, set of spare parts, and Triol surface card laid in a separate compartment. The gauge itself is rigidly fixed in the package in 3 bars. Unscrew the screws and fix the bars. Carefully remove the submersible unit from the packaging. Be careful. The gauge weighs about 44 pounds or 20 kilograms. Take a utility knife and cut the oiled paper along the sensor. The TM01-10-S is stored in the K-17 conservation oil. The temperature sensor, mounting kit, and documentation are packed in sealed bags. Remove the wrapping paper from the submersible unit. Take care, as the conservation oil can leak out of the sensor cavities. Please note that the hole in the flange is sealed with a plastic cover that tightly closes the cavity where the connectors for the temperature sensor and power supply of the submersible unit are located. This prevents mechanical damage of the connectors. To start installing the submersible unit, the plastic cover must be removed. Package includes a flange for your type of submersible electric motor is pre-installed on the TM01-10 submersible unit. The scope of delivery can include flanges of any required dimensions. In this video, you see a flange for mounting on a 456 series motor. Rubber O-rings designed to seal the flange connection to the TM01-10-S with the motor support. Mounting kit, consisting of a crimped aluminum sleeve and an insulating container made of fluorine plastic, PTFE. This collapsible container on a threaded connection consists of a main container and a cap. High voltage wire for connecting the 0 point of the motor, with a cross-section of 0.04 inches or 1 millimeter, or American wire gauge 17. For additional protection of the wire itself, it is stretched into a silicone tube. Attention! Do not remove the tube. At one end of the wire has a female crimp connector, while the free end is stripped to a length of 0.4 inches or 10 millimeters. Remote sensor for oil temperature of the submersible electric motor. The delivery set can optionally include both a Type J thermocouple and a PT1000. This video shows a PT1000. The sensor comes in a set ready for installation. No additional operations such as crimping or soldering are required. We've had a look at the delivery set. Now we will proceed directly to the installation. To install and check the TM01-10-S, we need wire strippers for wires with a cross-section of 0.04 inches or 1 millimeter, or American wire gauge 17. Crimping pliers for crimping the aluminum sleeve of the mounting kit. Open-end wrench for tightening the nuts immediately after installing the TM01-10-S on the electric motor. To check the functionality, prepare in advance 24-volt DC power supply unit, Triol surface card, high voltage choke, wires laid in the delivery set of the high voltage choke and surface card, connection wires for surface card 0 volts plus 24 volts, power supply wires for the TM01-10-S, GND, wires with alligator clips at both ends. Assemble the test circuit following the algorithm. Connect the 0 volt plus 24 volt connection wires to the power supply unit, and on the other side to the corresponding contacts of the surface card. Contact markings are indicated on the surface card. With the TM01-10-S power wires, connect the G&D to the Triol surface card and connect contacts to the marked contacts XT1 and the high voltage choke 1, 2. Lead 2 wires with alligator clips at both ends to the corresponding contacts of the XT1 high voltage choke. You can also make a complete diagnosis of your sensor using the Triol test unit, the dedicated diagnostic tool. The test unit is self-powered, so you can check the connections without a power source. You can see the link for downloading a document describing the test unit on the screen. Test stand is ready. The instrument is ready. We can start. Step 1. Install the 0-point connection wire and install the temperature sensor in its proper place on the corresponding plug connectors. During installation, you should hear a distinctive SPOK sound. Please note that the design of the contacts allow you to easily install them by hand. After installation, make sure everything is securely fixed and firmly in place. Hold the 0 wire and temperature sensor in your hand and pull with slight force towards the perpendicular end of the top of the sensor. Gradually increasing the effort, hold in this state for 3 to 5 seconds. The sensor connection is securely fixed. Let's go further. Step 2. Check the functioning of the sensor. Install the terminals alligator clips on the cabinet of the TM01-10-S with the wire connected to the GND, and connect the wire connected to the 0-SUT on the free end of the 0-point wire. Turn on the power supply, take the remote sensor in your hand and gently squeeze. The warmth of your hand will begin to warm it up, and thus you can determine that the submersible unit is transmitting measured data to the surface card. The same will happen with vibration if you slightly shake the TM01-10-S. Please check that the card screen is lit up and the temperature, pressure, and vibration values turned green, which means that the connections and the sensor itself are working properly. After making sure everything is in order, turn off the power supply and disconnect the clamps from the cabinet and the 0 wire. Step 3. Install the rubber O-rings to the flange without pre-lubrication. Slide ring number 1 from one side of the flange into a special groove, and then pull it over to the rest of the flange. Watch the position of the rings. Do not allow mechanical defects and twisting of the geometry along the axis of the cross-section. Carry out this operation for ring number 2. Do not stretch the rings to make them fit into the groove. Do not install the rings in freezing temperatures. After installing the rings, lightly run your hand over them and conduct a visual inspection. Make sure the rings are installed correctly. Step 4. Connect the wires. Pass the 0-point wire of the TM01-10-S into the cap of the insulating container of the mounting kit until it stops in the silicone tube. Its length is calculated in such a way that when the cap rests on it, the wire is released to a sufficient length to fix it in the sleeve. Fix it in your hands and slide the sleeve on the stripped-free end until it stops. Crimp in 2 places using crimping pliers. Crimping points are at the beginning of the sleeve and at 0.08 inches or 2 millimeters from the special groove in the sleeve itself. Pull the wire and the sleeve in different directions. Make sure they are firmly fixed and connected. Moving to the submersible motor. Prepare the free end of the 0 point of the submersible motor. Cut off excess cable length. Keep the lead wire at 8 inches or 20 millimeters. Strip the free end of the insulation using wire strippers. Rotate the bare end clockwise in your hands 2 to 3 turns to avoid loosening the wire. Pass the prepared wire through the hole in most of the insulating container. Insert the threaded wire into the crimped sleeve on the other side and crimp with pliers in 2 places. Crimping points are at the beginning of the sleeve and at 2 to 3 millimeters from the special groove in the very center of the sleeve. Pull the wire and the sleeve in different directions. Make sure they are firmly fixed and connected. Screw on the insulating container cap. This will protect the connection from possible contact with metal parts of the motor. Pull the wires in different directions. Everything is secure and ready to be installed in the motor. Step 5. Mount the TM01-10-S onto a submersible motor. Install the temperature sensor into the slot provided in the submersible motor support. If there is no special place for installing the temperature sensor in the submersible motor support, skip this action and go to the next step. Liberally lubricate the connecting surface and the rubber O-rings with REDA-3 or equivalent. Install and fix the sensor in the specially provided place in the submersible motor winding. In this case, the temperature of the submersible motor windings will be measured and reflected during operation of the surface card. If there is not a special place provided in the motor, leave the sensor in the free cavity of the submersible motor support. In this case, the oil temperature will be measured and displayed during operation. In this case, direct contact with rotating and moving parts of the submersible electric motor is not allowed, because this can lead to mechanical damage of the temperature sensor. Smoothly connect the submersible motor support to the flange of the TM01-10-S, making sure that the wires are not twisted or pinched by the flange. Install the TM01-10-S onto the submersible motor. Check the cleanliness of the mating surfaces, as the tightness of the installation depends on this. Avoid dust, debris, and burrs on the sealing surface. Once the flanges are in contact, screw on and tighten the peripheral nuts with an open-end wrench. Your Triol TM01-10-S is installed and ready for commissioning at the facility. See the corresponding video manual for how to install and connect the surface card properly. See you next time. Work with Triol. Sell knowledge.